So we got an interesting question, something that we haven't talked about before, from a young woman who's trying to deal with abortion guilt or the
Ugh.
lack of abortion guilt. And she wanted us to talk about that.
I didn't have 1 ounce of guilt.
No, I've had 3. You've had 3.
Yeah, but, by the way, I was only admitting to 2.
Until I said I had 3.
Well, come on. All right, first time it's a mistake. The second time, now come on, get your shit together. Third time, you got to be an idiot.
But even that thought process shows as women, like, we never forgive ourselves.
No, we blame.
We blame ourselves. How could it happen
Blame.
3 times? Because you're having sex over the course of 40 years that you're kind of fertile.
Well, this all happened in my 20s when you are super fertile.
Yes. Everything, Mother Nature, everything is programmed to get you knocked up in your 20s.
Totally across the board. And of course in those days you had to go steady, and it was always the reason, the excuse or the justification for having sex is that you were in love and you were going to get married. Remember that?
Yes. It was never because you got off or you had a good time.
Or that you really liked sex.
So when you end up seeing that little blue line, you know that is punishment for having sex. And now that you have to do something about it, you're going to get punished again.
Because you're a bad girl.
See, I never felt that way. For me, the first abortion, I was 18, and I did it because I wanted to continue my schooling, and my education was important to me.
My first one was when I was 21, and I was in art school, and I had no intention of not.
See, education. That, you don't, because once you do that, once you have that child, you're just going to live in poverty. It's just so hard.
Total shift. And I didn't want to marry. I really didn't want to
marry. Sorry guys, that's why we do it. It's when we really don't like you that much.
But I loved having sex with Tommy. It was absolutely fabulous.
And my other 2 was with a married man, and I wasn't going to be that family on the side. And, you have to look at your child one day, and I just knew that would be horrendous for me. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this with you now.
No, none of this would be happening. Well, my last 2 were with the brothers. The younger one was the one I was dating, and it was just, it was just drunk out, and my diaphragm.
Well, that's how most of this happens. You're having a few drinks, and
the diaphragm was in my handbag and not in my vagina.
It works when you put it in.
And then the last one, I even considered. Well, listen, at that point I was 28.
When you're almost 30, you think like, oh, I better have this. That's.
And so I told my lover then, I said, well, come on, I would have a baby. And then he said, entrapment. And I thought, entrapment? Are you fat
Don't
fuck?
flatter yourself. How dare you? But I never felt guilt about it because I put myself first.
Yes.
And I think as women, we need to do a little bit more of that.
Constantly, yes, absolutely. And down deep in my heart, my image of me was never to be a mother. It was to be a great artist. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be a jerk-off.
You had a goal. Jerk-off artist. Well.
I'll take it.
But what's interesting is that they say 1 out of 4 women will have an abortion and terminate a pregnancy. And I would say it's probably 2 out of 4 because people lie because of shame.
We don't tell the truth about it. We really, because there's still a stigma around it.
Of course, no one will ever talk about having one themselves, but they'll say, I support a woman's right to choose. But the majority of women will have children. So we have this idea that women who have abortions don't end up having families. And that's not true.
No, most of them have several kids already.
Or if they're young, they end up having an abortion or 2, and then when they're ready, they have that child.
Yes.
So it's really about intentional motherhood, and you should never feel guilty about that.
That's the word, intentional. Intentional. You intend it. You plan it. Now is the time.
We have the technology.
Use it.
And whether or not you have a diaphragm or a condom or an IUD, or you take a pill and, you keep it from happening, or a few weeks later you take a pill and it washes out of your uterus, I'm sorry, it's just hair splitting. There's no difference.
No.
It's a couple of cells that can't exist without you. I wouldn't feel sorry at all.
We feel so strongly about the importance of abortion is that in the fall we're going back to Wichita to give a talk and raise some money and turn it over to the abortion center that just reopened in Wichita, which is George Tiller's place where he was.
And George Tiller is a doctor that was shot down in a church for
By this-
performing late-term abortions to save women's lives.
By a crazy abortion religious nut. I don't even know what happened to him. I hope he rots in jail.
But Julie is fantastic.
Julie Burkhart is this. She was here not long ago, and she
Exactly.
came to see us. And this woman is so solid. She's a warrior.
She is.
On the front line. So they're still out there. The Dobson, so close to my name. I want to.
They're still fighting to take away our rights, so you should never feel guilty about that. And like Betty said, you're a warrior. If you've terminated a pregnancy, you're a warrior.
You are a warrior of personal choice and freedom.
Yes.
So we're going to go there and help them raise money. And I'm just honor your abortions because it's your choice. And I love the term intentional motherhood.
Just remember, like, this whole pressure not to have abortions, it's really about perpetuating the Madonna whore dichotomy.
The Madonna whore.
You're a Madonna or you're a whore. So if you don't have the baby, you're a whore. Well, I'm a whore. Whore right
And then
here.
we do the whole thing.
Whore.